Hey guys, Buffman Gaming back today, bringing you another video for our favorite weapon series. In this video, we're going to go through the weapon stats in Warzone mainly, discuss whether this weapon should or should not be nerfed going into Season 4, and then we'll build it from scratch. I'll show you a couple different builds using this. I just picked this up for the first time yesterday. For the longest time, I was against 6 to 14, which again is going to match a lot of the other high rate of fire weapons like the Kilo, the M4, and the M13, which are most competitive with this weapon. The rounds per minute, or the rate of fire, is going to be 730, which is second fastest. Actually, it's the M4 is faster with 800. The Kilo 141 is even faster with 750, and the M13. So out of all four of those, I say top tier assault rifles for Warzone, it's going to be the slowest firing. The magazine, obviously, you have the base 30 capacity, as we'll show here. I'll show you the 60-round attachment for this weapon also, as well as a 50-round magazine attachment of 5.56. All these weapons that are the high rate of fire ones that we're covering here, between the Grau, the Kilo, M4, and the M13, are all 5.56 by 45 NATO. The reload speed for the Grau 5.56 is going to be 1.32 seconds. So M13 is going to come in at 1.3, so slightly faster. The M4 at 1.39 and the Kilo 141 at 1.34. So pretty even there. You're not really going to notice any difference with the frame rate there. Now the ADS speed for the Grau 5.56 is going to be 234 milliseconds. The M13 is going to be 250 milliseconds. M4 is going to be 250 milliseconds as well, and the Kilo is 267. So it's the fastest ADS speed on those weapons. Even with the Archangel barrel, the ADS speed is very quick, as you'll see in some of the gameplay here, which is the longest barrel, 26-inch barrel on this weapon. And the movement speed is 97%. So you're really not impacted too much with the max attachments that we're going to build here today. I think we'll discuss what I think would be appropriate for nerfs. But recoil pattern for the Grau, again, you can check out the SWAT RFT video where I essentially had this exact same build, just with a different sight on there. But the recoil pattern is going to be basically straight vertical with a very slight deviation to the right, maybe 20 degrees. It's not very much, so really all you need to do is control the vertical recoil, and if you put on the Commando foregrip like we're going to show here, you don't have to worry about any horizontal recoil. So straight vertical recoil, easy to control, and again, that Commando foregrip won't hurt your movement speed for your ADS speed as well with this. Whereas the other weapons like the Kilo 141 veer hard to the left. M4 is pretty much straight vertical, but also deviates harder to the right than the Grau 5.56. And then with the M13, it's again very similar to the M4. I'd say even veering harder to the right as well. So the Grau 5.56, very easy to control the recoil on this weapon. And now when we get into the damage range on the Grau 5.56, it has, I think, the longest 4-shot damage range in the game, all the way out to around 40 meters, and then 5-shot kill range, especially this is applicable to Warzone, all the way out to just about 100 meters, and then beyond that, it's 6 kills. So the damage at range for this weapon, especially using the Archangel barrel, which we'll show here, is going to be the longest 5-shot kill range of any weapon to use in Warzone of the assault rifles by far. So when we talk about nerfs, you'll see, again, this is the first time I'm using this weapon in the gameplay that you're seeing. I just picked it up yesterday to play around with it, and I played around with a couple of different builds that I see a lot of people use in game. Usually you see the exact same 1 or 2 builds in every game with just about everybody in the game using it, it seems like. So first time playing with it, and honestly, when I first picked it up, I was shocked at how little of the recoil there was at these long ranges. So you'll see me in some of these clips struggling to get shots on target just because I'm trying to compensate for recoil that isn't there. And once I was able to understand how the weapon handled, and just that the rate of fire is so fast, there's virtually no recoil with this weapon, and the time that you're firing, the bullet travel time as far as bullet drop, a lot of the other weapons like a SCAR or an AK, you're going to need to lead your target. With the Grau 5.56 or the SIG 5.56 here, you're not going to really need to lead your target. It's basically a point and shoot weapon all the way out to like 200, even 300 meters. If you're mounted, you can just laser beam people. So there's really little bullet drop off with this weapon. So let's go ahead now and we will back out, and I'll show you a couple of the builds that I'm using here. So if I go ahead and back out, here's the one of the final builds that I'm going to use for my solo run. So let's go ahead and back out. I'll strip this down to the base Grau 5.56 or the SIG 550 series of rifles. So first off, for the muzzle, on both these builds, and whether it's solos, duos, trios, or quads, I'm always going to run a mono on this weapon. This is going to assist with the sound suppression and increase that damage at range even further, which will go along with the barrel attachment we're going to use on this. Again, same pros and cons for all the weapons that we use. The ADS speed and the aim down sight speed, or excuse me, the ADS speed and the aim walking steadiness are going to be the only cons here, but we're making up with that. Elsewhere, it's not really going to have a huge impact on the weapon. Now the barrel, keep in mind here, we have the Tempest 26.4-inch Archangel. The next one is the Nexus, which is a 20-inch barrel. So you have the longest barrel on any of the assault rifles, I believe, being the 26.4-inch Archangel. So this is going to assist with the damage at range, obviously, bullet velocity, and the recoil control. The cons here being the ADS speed and the movement speed. So we'll go ahead and select that. Laser we're going to skip out on for these builds. I really don't think you need it with this weapon. The ADS speed and the movement speed, no matter what you're running on this, I think is fine, and you really are going to be wasting an attachment for a laser on this weapon. Now the optic, for the first attachment, I'm going to actually leave it blank. So for the solo build, we'll skip it here. Again, there's one of two builds that you can make here. So I'll skip out the optic. We'll leave the base stock, no perk. Now for the rear grip, I'm going to run the Cronen Sniper Elite. This is going to assist with the aiming stability and the aim walking steadiness. The cons here being the aim walking movement speed. So we'll go ahead and select that. Ammunition is going to be the 60-round magazine. Now again, I'm running this for both solos and any other game mode that I'm running in Warzone, just because the high rate of fire, I feel like the 60-round magazine is warranted for this weapon. So again, you're increasing your magazine capacity from 30 to 60. It's going to have a slight reduction to the aim down sight speed and the movement speed, but again, you don't really notice this at all. So I'll go ahead and select that. Then the underbarrel, the best attachment here is always going to be the Commando foregrip. This is going to assist with the recoil stabilization and the aiming stability. The con here is the movement speed, but again, you don't even feel that. So we'll go ahead and select that. And there's all 5 of our attachments. So this is the build that I'll show you in the gameplay where I got a nice win. I've had a couple wins with this just yesterday using it. This build right here is one of my favorites, I think, for this weapon. Definitely very meta. Very little recoil, as you'll see. Now, the other build, you can run this in basically any game mode as far as solos, trios, duos, or quads, whichever one you want to run. I think this goes across the board for any game mode in Warzone. Now, the other option here is I would swap out the rear grip, so we'll go ahead and deselect that. And now the optic, this is always personal preference, but one of the better ones for this is going to be the VLK 3x optic. That's that Russian 3x magnified optic. This is going to assist with the zoom level, and the ADS speed is going to be the only con here, but again, you don't really notice it. This gives you a really nice sight picture, and you have a very nice, small, precise reticle in order to help you get shots on target quickly. So you see me using this in a lot of the gameplay in the beginning, and then we'll swap to that other one without the optic on the weapon. So obviously some other options here, you could go for different grips. You could go with the XRK Void. That'll assist with the ADS speed and the sprint to fire speed, but again, I don't feel you need that. This particular build right here that I got a couple wins with, I think is just very, very well rounded. And again, the movement speed and the ADS speed on this is, you don't feel it at all. It feels like it's running very quickly. You're running a very small, short build M4 or M13. It definitely, I feel like it doesn't perform like a weapon would with a 26-inch barrel as far as movement speed goes. But let's go ahead. Now, this is the final design for this. So this is the Growl 556, the meta build of this, or the SIG 556 weapon here. So let's go ahead and jump into the gameplay. What I'm going to do is walk you through this one win that I had here. Nothing too exciting, but I'm going to walk you through it, and then we'll discuss whether or not it should or shouldn't be nerfed. So let's go ahead and switch over to the gameplay here. Okay, so here I started. I landed at TV Station, and what I'm doing, again, TV Station is one of my top landing spots. So here I'm just patrolling, and here you can see I just run out and I'm getting shot from my 6 o'clock. So I'm not sure if he was chasing me or if he's just coming from the roof, is what it seems like. So I'm going to run, instead of going up to the roof or on the side where he has line of sight on me, I'm going to get out of there and take some cover. And you can see here there's a lot of fire around the area. I can hear it. You can see on the minimap there, those red dots. So I'm assuming they're definitely on the roof. So what I'm going to try and do is either switch positions, but I decided here to do something pretty dumb. I wouldn't really recommend this, but at this point I've been playing a while, so I'm just going for it. And of the tower and see if I can get shots on target for this guy. So here you can see I'm looking over, I'm seeing where he's going. Go ahead and mount, and I catch him jumping right off down. I don't know if he was chasing me or where he was trying to go, but those stopping power rounds, he was already pretty hurt, it seemed like, and then those stopping power rounds obviously just hurt him even more. So fast forward a little bit, I'm tracking a guy that I saw run over to this building here, and again, I didn't know where he went until right there, and so I'm moving a little bit cautiously. I don't want to give away my sound. And again, I lost him, and then you see him down there get into that car and drive away. So I had an RPG, and little throwback to my Battlefield 4 days, Battlefield 3 days, I hit that RPG shot. Really nice shot. Pretty impressed with that shot by myself there. Never really run RPGs, but I had it in this game. So fast forward again, I'm up on the tower here, and I know there's a guy over here, and here he finally popped out I was able to down him, and then this is pretty crazy. I'm not sure if I'm missing these shots or when you're down in this last stand mode waiting to get revived here or using the self-revive, you're just absorbing a lot of bullets. So I probably should have just used my Grau in that situation, but it took like 4 shots of the sniper, and he still ended up falling down there and reviving himself, which was pretty crazy. So I'm going to end up trying to move. You can see the wall's going to be closing in soon, so I know he's in there. I've been tracking him for a little bit and hearing him in there. There's some more guys in those villages. So my goal here, just monitoring the circle, is trying to get downtown. Now I'm running here and I'm hearing shots that are very close. So there's a sniper to my right somewhere. So I'm trying not to make too much noise. And there he is. So I just beam him right in the head. Again, you can see very little recoil of this weapon, but we're in close range there, so that's obviously expected. Now, there's still a guy in this building, so I'm going to cautiously move up. I had a spot marked downtown. I'm able to get downtown in a truck, and what I did here is pop a UAV just to see where everyone is and what my options were. Trying to read the circle and see where I can get. Now, downtown circles, you want high ground, so I end up getting on this one middle building, I believe the D flag and ground war here for Divorce District. I get up there, clear the roof, and I'm checking my surrounding roofs because I know there's guys on some of these roofs from my UAV. So this is an interesting engagement here. I know there was a guy over there before, and here he starts shooting me. So he's in one of the windows there beaming me. Now at the same time, I hear a guy coming up the stairs. And he just came out, and he knew right where I was. Somehow he must have heard me, and I'm able to get him. And now I still have to worry about this guy to my left over on that C, that tall flag there around where C is on ground war. And there you can see he jumps down, and he's actually going to get shot and killed by someone else. So this is where the end game, reading the circle and reading the situations, really comes in clutch, having prime position in the end circle here. So I'm going to loot this guy a little bit, get some gear. You can see he also had a Grau, so luckily I got shots on target quick. Now I can get a guy on my heartbeat who's probably in the building on the way up the stairs, or he's in the bottom floor at least. Now I'm hearing fire all around, so I'm just trying to check, and here you'll see the range of the Grau. Now again, at this point, I'm still trying to learn that there's no recoil on this weapon and that you don't need to leave your targets. It's basically point and shoot with this, especially at range. So here you'll see, even though I'm running Iron Sights, this is a shot that I typically wouldn't take with other assault rifles. And here, especially with no optics, you know, I break his armor pretty easily, and luckily he just got behind cover there. I mark where he is. Now I'm hearing footsteps downstairs. I'm going to check my heartbeat, and you can see I picked that up. So I have to disengage that guy in the street, and I know there's a guy coming up here any second. So there he is. I'm able to get shots on target, break his armor very quickly. He retreats. I'm going to throw C4 for good measure and just keep an eye on that door in case he decides to come back out. There's also windows there he can get out, but you can see they're checking the heartbeat. He must have looped down. There's a hallway right below the staircase there that goes across, and there you can see he went to the other side and back up and jumped out the window. Not sure if he was going to try and flank me and just ran out of time with the circle, but he jumped down and he's getting shot at pretty heavily there. So again, I'm going to move. I spot this guy on the other building. Now, another thing to keep in mind here is just look at the gas here. He's getting, the gas is closing on him. He's going to have to get off that roof, and so am I. Now, I have a gas mask here, so I'm going to use that to my advantage. I'm not sure where all these guys are below me, but there's a couple of guys left, and I know this guy in the building across is probably my most immediate threat, because if I jump before him, he's going to have an easy kill. So I'm going to wait it out in the gas a little bit because I have my gas mask. I can be in there a few seconds, just monitor what he's doing. He's right on the edge of the circle, so he's going to have to leave too. So I'm going to halo jump this a little bit. You don't want to be parachuting all the way down. I'm going to have as little parachute time as I can. This guy got pretty lucky and just got over me and out of my line of sight. Couldn't get shots on target. I throw C4 for good measure because there's obviously fire down there. Now that guy gets in the building. Spot another guy there. So I'm going to reposition. I have the high ground. I'm the only one up top. I'm paying attention to the numbers of players left. Going to reload, do my armor again, peek. That guy got killed. This is one more, and here he comes. So this guy flanked around and then just got caught in the gas, and then I'm able to easily get shots on target. So circle position in there, very key for that win. Again, you can just see how this weapon handles with no optics on there. Again, some of those shots that you saw me shooting down the guy in the street is shots that I would never take with any other assault rifle in the game, especially beaming full auto like that. So when it comes to the nerfs, again, we did a poll on the channel the other day for what you guys thought, what kind of nerfs this weapon should have, whether it should have no nerfs, major nerfs, or little nerfs. And the majority of you said, 50% of you said, just needs minor nerfs. And I agree with that. I think this weapon handles pretty much exactly how it's supposed to handle. There's really I think very little that needs to be done to this. Really, it just needs a slight increase to the horizontal recoil at longer ranges. It needs maybe a slight reduction to that 5 kill range, because in multiplayer, you're typically not going to be engaging at those long ranges like you do in Warzone. So that 5 kill range, maybe reduce that by 1 shot to kill, and then also add a little bit of horizontal recoil to those longer ranges as well, and increase the, or decrease the movement speed, because the Archangel is a 26-inch long barrel. It's the longest one we have in game. And again, compared to the other rifles, the movement speed on this is just way too much for a 26. I believe the longest other barrel attachment we have on a weapon would be the Scar here, and the Scar is a 20-inch barrel, and I believe that's the second longest for the assault rifles in game. The movement speed on the Scar, even though they just buffed it, is still very slow, given it does have a 7.62 551mm NATO cartridge versus the 5.56, but having a whole 6-inch, almost 7-inch longer barrel on the Grau versus the Scar, and the movement speed and the ADS speed are still very impressive. Even when you're using same attachments I'm using on the Scar, if I put on an optic, different grips, your ADS speed is still going to be very fast, and so is the movement speed. So let me know down below what you guys think of this. Again, these are the Grau builds that I would recommend for Warzone if you're going to use it. I'm pretty certain this is going to get those minor nerfs. When we talk about nerfs to this weapon, it doesn't need huge nerfs at all. I think, again, having a long weapon, and this is basically the SWAT RFP from other Black Ops games that we've seen, based off the SIG 550 series. So this is the SIG 556 with the American imported version. It performs exactly how it should. With a long barrel like that, it should have little recoil at range. However, for Warzone ranges, when you're dumping a full 60-round magazine with this weapon at 200 meters, sometimes with no optic on the weapon, and there's 0 recoil, and you can get all your shots on target, that's a bit of a problem. And you'll notice that, I'm sure if you guys are playing Warzone, you're getting killed by this weapon almost all the time. So let me know down below what you guys think of this weapon, what you think it needs for nerfs. Again, I'm going to say it needs a slight increase to the horizontal recoil, especially at ranges. Maybe a slight increase to the penalty for automatic fire at those ranges. Slight increase or reduction, I guess, to the movement speed. You should move a little bit slower with this longer 26-inch barrel on this weapon. And also decrease the shot to kill by maybe 1 shot. That'll bring it more in line with the Kilo. Still not huge nerfs, but it'll bring it at least even out the meta a little bit more, so this thing can't go full auto at 200 to 300 meters and just kill people without any recoil. I think is the major concern with this weapon. I think, it performs how it should, but at long ranges like that in Warzone is where I think there's an issue with this. So hopefully they end up doing those minor nerfs and bring it right in line to where it really should be, so you can't engage it full auto like that, or at least you have to burst fire or control your fire a little bit more than just full auto spraying. So let me know down below what you guys think should be done to the Grau 5.56. If anything, if you maybe disagree with me and you think it's fine the way it is, and you just need to play differently with other weapons, which we've definitely done here on this channel, which I'm not opposed to. It does just get annoying having everybody use the exact same weapon with the exact same attachments, which, again, I don't have any trouble getting around that, but I know for a lot of people it can be frustrating when you run into the same weapons over and over. And if you're exposing yourself in situations and somebody has a Grau, which I would say I typically get killed by this maybe 70-80% of the time, and that's being generous, you're going to be dead pretty quick. And you can see how quickly I was able to take down targets. So again, let me know what you guys think down below. And until next time, Buffner Gaming, out.